Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Four Continental Podcast. Perhaps quite a few breaks, quite a few days of break, but yeah, we're back. Singh Park is finally here. So yeah, let's just head straight into it. Portugal versus Spain. What do you think of this game?
Yeah, I mean, first thing first, I'm happy to be back. It's been a while since we have done this. But yeah, going to this game though, I feel like we were kind of seeing like a quite passive game in terms of the sense that I feel like Portugal, they weren't really trying. I feel like they weren't really providing much pressure. Like even the pressing in terms, in my opinion, wasn't that great. And the one thing I really noticed about them was the fact that you know how before in the games I was saying like Portugal were trying to like spam a lot of crosses. But I feel like in this game they actually should have done that, but they actually did not for some reason. But yeah, uh, speaking for the Spain side though, a lot of people are kind of like saying that Spain aren't haven't been as great as they should have been. But I think, in my opinion, like Spain were just kind of playing like the style of football they usually play, which is like the usual like possession, like the tempo of the game where they try to like get like the others to make a mistake and then yeah, just trying to dictate the game. And I feel like at the same time, I feel like their players' positioning is quite good because I feel like there's always a pass for them. So yeah, and yeah, what do you think of the game, Moment?
Yeah, I mean, we saw the usual from the Spanish side. They're trying to keep possession and moving the ball around. So Spain actually did make quite a few chances there. Like we saw the battle between Nuno Mendes and Lamine Yamal once again. But I personally feel like Nuno Mendes won that one because I believe he won more duels against Yamal. Although Yamal he did have some success going past Mendes, but at most of the time it was Mendes who was dispossessing him. But yeah, other than that, I think Spain they work well to make the ball go forward. But when they gave the pass in the box, there was no one really to finish it off. I think that's what they were lacking. They were lacking players inside the box who maybe who could have just applied the finishing touch. But yeah, other than that, I think it was a pretty disappointing game for Portugal because yeah, that's I mean, coming into the tournament, they had such a big hype, uh, especially with their midfield. But I think they were really, average in this World Cup. I mean, everyone has their theories, but I personally they weren't really maybe interested playing with Ronaldo. There are many theories around, but yeah, we have to talk about Mikel Marino. He's been, like you can say, perhaps a clutch player for Spain in the last couple of games. Yeah, so it was once again he came off the sub and yeah scored the winner.
Yeah, right, right. And I also feel like in for the game, I feel like Liao should have started. And yeah, I mean, again, I've seen a lot of people were like saying Yamal was quite he was ghosting, but yeah, I don't think he was on his best, but I don't think he was the worst as well. I think people are just hating.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So yeah, let's head to the second game being um, the second game. I have to go all the way back. Yeah. So here we are, USA versus Belgium. So what do you think of this game?
Yeah, I mean, starting off, the first thing I want to say is like justice at the end is always served. I mean, USA, we seen how they cheated. They really like brought on Balogun, who was supposed to have a red card. But at the end of the day, bro, the justice is always served. And then, yeah, this game, Belgium just kind of clapped them. And I would say that though, I mean, a lot of people are kind of saying that, USA were like, they were completely like they should have like done better against this washed Belgium. And yeah, while I think like Belgium weren't that good beforehand, I do think in this game they did kind of step it up though. But yeah, I feel like it was not even a close game at all. In my opinion, it should have been like a 3-0 win for Belgium. And yeah, for the USA, I think like in terms of every aspect, like defense, midfield, attack, they were worse in Belgium. And yeah, we cannot like ignore goalie's disaster class. I mean, what the hell was that performance, man? Like he even led to like a goal for the Belgians, and also we cannot ignore the De Ketelaere performance for Belgium. I mean, if you remember the earlier episodes, Freitas kind of had him like as someone who would like pull out some great performances, and I feel like in this game he showed his best ability. I mean, he had like two great goals. But yeah, what do you think of this game, Moment?
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, justice is always served. So we saw in this game, I mean, despite having him, USA still couldn't do much because I think Belgium absolutely dominated this game, and they were the better side. Of course, they put some immense pressure on the US team. Also, the goal they scored, the USA, the free kick, which was a massive deflection. Otherwise, it was basically straight into Courtois' hands. If it weren't for that, USA would have been thrashed like 4-0. But yeah, I mean, this is it. The Ketelaere, he's been great in the knockout stages, despite being average in the group stages. But in the knockout, he really kind of stepped it up. It was good to see him playing with confidence. And yeah, for poor performance from USA all around. Their keeper, the mistake. Their center back, yeah, David Ream, absolutely horrendous game from him. I think the back line was basically all horrendous except Robinson. I think he was the only one doing something good. But yeah, you can say you could see the quality difference between both the sides. But yeah, I'm really glad Belgium won it, and they won it with with a big margin. And I was hearing reports like the fact, like you saw how I think they benched Doku and yeah, they benched Doku and De Bruyne. So I somewhere heard a report the fact that Belgium didn't really see USA as like a worthy opponent, which is why they benched KDB and Doku for the quarter final. So, I mean, if that's true, that really shows how confident they are. So yeah, I mean, very dominating performance from Belgium.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously the fact that Belgium has been getting a lot of hate, but I feel like this was the one game I feel like everyone kind of united to support Belgium, and it was quite beautiful to see them like at least put off like a masterclass, even in this World Cup. And yeah, even Lukaku was benched. I know he wasn't like starting most games beforehand, anyways, but yeah, even he came on and then scored a goal, which is just crazy. I mean, yeah, it was just a complete domination, embarrassing, really.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, looking at the group, people certainly had some really high expectations after how USA performed in this group. But I knew for a fact that when they face, a team like, a big team, they will definitely struggle. And we saw in the Belgium game, they really heavily suffered against them. So yeah, this was it. Yeah, let's move to the third game, the most controversial one, perhaps, according to some fans. So here we are, Argentina versus Egypt.
I mean, started off with this game. This game was my favorite game of the tournament so far. I mean, just I don't know how Argentina do it, man. But yeah, going to it, like it was kind of embarrassing for Argentina in the first half, second half. I feel like Egypt, they were putting up a surprising performance. They were looking quite organized, and then Ibrahim, I think, scored like quite early on. And yeah, going into it, like Egypt just looked quite comfortable. I don't know what Argentina were doing. And then afterwards, then Egypt had another goal, which was ruled out because it had a foul. And people are calling that a robbery, which is crazy in my opinion. But yeah, there was literally a foul in play, so obviously it was going to be disallowed. Like people, and yeah. And then it was by the 79th minute, I think, when Argentina finally stepped it up. I mean, first Romero scored a goal. I think there was hope back, and then Yeah, and then after that, the shift just completely changed towards Argentina. I mean, they were just like providing too much pressure, and then Egypt just eventually fumbled. And obviously, this game, like you have said, had a lot of controversies. And I feel like people are just hating Argentina for the sake of it, because I feel like, even I feel like people are pointing out the Salah penalty,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like that
yeah.
was not even a penalty, because like we have said, the defender, he took the ball beforehand. He already took the ball. So I don't know how people are saying that was a robbery. Like, I feel like people just have a hate against Argentina. Like, it really is. And even for the Egypt goal that was disallowed, that was perfectly a foul. So it had to be disallowed. Like, I don't understand why people were making excuses that, oh, they are just checking back, like going back like 15 seconds just to like help Argentina. Like, it was a foul. Like, people are just hating. What do you think though of the controversies?
Yeah, 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 exactly. So let me start off with the game. Obviously, Egypt, they started off well. Argentina, I mean, they were kind of poor in the opening, in the opening hour, perhaps, and up till the 60th, 65th minute. The first goal they conceded was a good header from Ibrahim, and then the second goal, which was disallowed for Egypt. And yeah, as you mentioned, it was obviously a foul, which is why I always keep proof with me, since I don't think I have missed many of Messi's games throughout all of his career. But ever since that happened, I literally shift to this one game in the World Cup 2022 qualifiers, which happened between Argentina and Paraguay, and Argentina had a similar goal disallowed. So if you allow me, I would like to show this on the screen. I don't understand why people are making some crazy shouts about this one, but yeah, let me just head to the other tab. Yeah, here we are. And yeah, now I
Ooh,
want
we're
you to
going
pay
up.
attention to this game. So yeah, look, uh,
Just
Argentina scored here, and then the referee went back for a foul that was made before the halfway line. So yeah, here you see the foul that was made on the Paraguay player. Yeah, this was foul exactly. And I think it was a similar foul perhaps on Lisandro Martinez. The ball wasn't touched. And yeah, you can see this was in 2020, almost like 5, 6 years ago. So yeah, I'm really glad I was watching this game. I watched this game live. Yeah, and I immediately remembered after the Egypt disallowed goal, and I immediately went back to this to just to confirm this was exactly the same foul. So yeah, this was it. And now, moving back to the game, Argentina forcefully stepped it up in the 75th minute onwards. The blame has to go to the Egyptian coach here as well, because he made some really shit subs. He took out Hassan, and he took out another player as well to bring on defense, and just they went fully defense against Argentina in the last 15 minutes. I think that if they had played their natural game, things would have been much different for them. But yeah, obviously Messi wasn't really great in the whole match as well. But then he delivered a wonderful assist to Romero, where they managed to pull back one. They made it 2-1. Then a couple of minutes later, Messi with another ball inside the box. It came to Lautaro. Lautaro passed to Messi, and that was a wonderful half volley from Messi to make it 2-2. And yeah, after the first goal, the momentum literally shift towards Argentina. And yeah, now something that is worth mentioning here is the fact that Paredes was literally 4-on-1 against the Egyptians. I think it was in the 90th minute. The Egyptians were on a counter attack. It was literally a 3v1 or 4v1 situation, and Paredes was at the back alone, and he made a game changing tackle, and he
Oh yeah,
didn't lose
yeah,
the ball.
bro, that
Yeah,
was
yeah,
crazy. I thought, yeah.
that tackle basically won Argentina this game. And then obviously we came out to the third game, the third goal scored by Argentina. Uh, yeah, if we just go back once again to the replay that that foul, which many people assume which was a foul, but it really wasn't one. So yeah, let me just try to get back and find the clip of the foul. really quick, or you can show it to the people who like most of the social media I saw. It was they literally shared just one, just one. Yeah, they literally shared just one the screenshot where they hit where Salah hit Alvarez's foot, but they didn't really see the whole of the clip. So yeah, let me just go back on here, and yeah, here we are. Yeah, here it is. Let me just hit the replay once again. Here we are. The alleged foul, which many people say. Here it is. Salah has the ball. Alvarez is defending, and yeah, let's just watch the. Yeah, here it is. So yeah, here we clearly see how Alvarez literally. Yeah, this the first contact here. This is basically what matters. The first contact of Alvarez here, it was literally on the ball. He he took the ball away from. This was it. Another perhaps a propaganda from the Egyptian side. I mean, it's really crazy if you're up against if you are 2-0 against Argentina up until the 75th minute, and then you can see three goals in the last 15 minutes. I think the only thing that needs to be blamed are your tactics, are your manager, are your coach, rather than the blame on the ref. So yeah, I think this was a pretty crazy, some pretty crazy stuff said from the Egyptians, especially their manager, who's literally a sole loser, because even we saw in the AFCON how he complained when they lost against, I think it was Ivory Coast or Senegal, either one of those teams, and he said he was still complaining. So yeah, he has a history of complaining. So, and I think all of the calls that were made were extremely fair, and Argentina won an absolute banger of a game.
Yeah, I mean that was the Salah situation you were showing just now. That was what I was mentioning. It's crazy how people like just take a screenshot. They don't even pay attention to context. I just started like spam it in the internet, and you know how the haters are gonna jump onto that. And another thing which I found was crazy was obviously the fact that I don't want to bring politics into the sport, but after the game, you kind of seen like how people were constantly mentioning like Messi and the Israel connection or something, which is crazy because looking at the whole thing, it was actually like a peace tour. If I remember, he went to both Israel and Palestine. So I don't know like why people are just trying to like push a crazy propaganda, and they don't even keep it like sports level anymore. They straight up bring politics in it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with the fact that they literally brought up a peace tour that was between Palestine and Israel both. And I mean, this is exactly what's wrong with the people. They are using Palestine, Palestine, the stuff that's going on there. It's absolutely heartbreaking for all humans, but they're using it to gain views. They're using it to gain popularity, which is really, a sad moment in my opinion. And in general, there's been a hate propaganda against Argentina in overall as well. Like many people say that their president is a Zionist. I mean, of course, the majority of the world governments are pro-Israel, but you don't really see much hate to the other sides as much as you see from Argentina. But I know many Argentinians. I'm friends with many Argentinians, and I know they don't support Israel. They support Palestine as well. And they like the internet is free. You can search up the protests in Buenos Aires for Palestine. But yeah, it's really heartbreaking the fact that people are using Palestine to yeah to gain views and such. It's absolutely heartbreaking. And if I remember correctly, uh, Argentina cancelled friendly against Israel as well in 2018, and they were thanked by the Palestinian Football Association. I think people don't really pay attention to these things, but yeah, this whole hate propaganda against Argentina is absolutely crazy. I think people just can't really cope with them in sports, so they just try to bring politics to bring them down. And it's absolutely unfortunate that the Argentinians have to go through this propaganda.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, it's crazy, like how, when you are like one of the great, when you are the greatest player of all time, then people will just start like saying crazy stuff, like how that the whole football is like rigged for you to win it, and all the propaganda which now they bring on politics as well, which is crazy. But yeah, with that, shall we move on to the next game?
Yeah, yeah. Let's move to the final, perhaps the final round of 32 game, being Switzerland versus Colombia. So what do you think of this one?
Yeah, yeah. I actually did not watch this game, so I would want you to start off first.
Yeah, so let's talk about this game. Uh, Switzerland versus Colombia. I think it was kind of an even game from my point of view. I give it, if you take a look at the stats here, I think yeah, both of the team almost had similarly shots on target. Obviously, Colombia were many people's dark horses and slight favorites coming into this fixtures as well. But yeah, I think Colombia kind of really disappointed with how they played, and yeah, I like to bring another crazy thing to light here. I think one of the Colombian players, let me try to remember his name, but who it was. I think it was um yeah, Jaminto Campas. Yeah, this guy. So this guy basically missed a crucial chance for Colombia in the extra time, and he put it wide. And after the game, I think due to the death threats he received, I think he just basically completely went off the radar. He didn't on the social media as well. I think he basically went into hiding with how the death threats he received. Of course, we know Colombia and the cartels. So yeah, I think this is really perhaps a really crazy part of the fact that he, due to the death threats, he basically tried to erase his online presence. So yeah, this was a crazy moment from the game. But yeah, Colombia overall, they were more on the attack, but they could not really break through. Kobel made some pretty good saves. And yeah, now moving to the penalties of this game. Uh, Switzerland, they were, like you can say, like they were not really, apart from the Akanji miss, they weren't really, missing any penalties. And let's just head to the first one here. Conter obviously scored the first one. Then it was Xhaka. But I personally think that in the second place, in place of Davinson Sanchez, I think it should have been Luis Diaz here. He should have, came up and take responsibility for his side, as the penalty shootouts are really do or die. And yeah, I think in place of Davinson Sanchez, it should have been Luis Diaz who should have stepped up. So yeah, yeah, that's it. And yeah, moving on to the next penalties. Amduni, of course, scored. Champa scored the penalty, and then Akanji. I think the centre backs taking penalty in this World Cup have been generally very poor. We saw Ta, we saw I don't remember which other one did it well, who missed a penalty as well. So yeah, I think centre backs taking penalties have been pretty poor. This was it. This was the basically the decisive moment. Juan Hernandez, he couldn't really make it count. And then obviously Luis Diaz came in. Although I think he should have once again, I think he should have came in place of Davinson Sanchez, to keep up the pressure on Switzerland, but he delayed it, and I think that's what cost Colombia their elimination. That's why they got eliminated. So yeah, I think it was pretty an even game. It should have been a win for Colombia, but yeah, they couldn't really make it happen.
Yeah, right. I mean, I did have Colombia as my dark horses, but I guess the journey came to an end here. I still think it was a good run from them, though. But yeah, with that, shall we move on to the next game?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to the knockout stages here. Starting off with France versus Morocco. So yeah, did you watch? So what did you think of this game?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, going to this game, I feel like beforehand, I do think Morocco were gonna put up more of a fight. But yeah, watching this game, it just felt like they were like outclassed in every aspect by France, which is not even crazy. I mean, I still don't think Morocco were like horrible by any means. But yeah, I mean, like let's be real, like Bono, the goalkeeper, he was really saving them. I feel like in the second half, France has become way too dominant. And yeah, Bono, like he made like great saves. The game, France could have had like way more goals if it was not for him. But yeah, I feel like even when Morocco were like attacking, right? I feel like none of the chances were really being created. It felt like they didn't really have like any actual shots or anything. So yeah, it was just they were just outclassed in every aspect. And speaking from the France side of things, though, I a lot of people are obviously gonna like continue like glazing the attackers, which makes sense. But I really want to talk about the midfield performance from France this game, Kone and Rabiot. I mean, like I've said, I mean, a lot of people going to this tournament were mad that Rabiot was still starting. But yeah, I mean, in my opinion, he has been great the whole tournament. And what a performance by him and Kone. And yeah, what do you think about the Mbappe penalty miss moment?
Yeah, so before I talk about the penalty miss, I would like to talk about the penalty that was given to Mbappe actually. Um, I think it was. I personally don't think it was a clear penalty, and we can take a look at the replay here. Let me just try to bring on the clip. But yeah, as we see that since it's basically not Argentina, there will be no outrage since it's Mbappe, one of the Real Madrid's players. So yeah, there will be no propaganda against him and stuff. And let me just try to bring the try to bring the clip. Yeah, here it is. Here's the clip. Let me just share the screen real quick. So let me wait. Hold up. Let me just try to. Yeah, here it is. So yeah, let me just. Yeah, so this is basically what happened. Uh, Mbappe. Let me just go back here. If we take a look here, I think Maduro didn't really, hit Mbappe's leg. And I know obviously Mbappe has insane pace, so he threw the ball ahead of him, but I think Maduro didn't really hit Mbappe's leg. What I believe is Mbappe like basically fell on Mazroui's leg. Is where we are. So yeah, this was one of the controversial calls, and now I'd like to go to the next controversial call, which was in the second half towards the build-up of towards the build-up of the first goal of France. Yeah, let me just try to find it here. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, here. The things that there's a basically a handball shout from Rabio. This replay here, but there is definitely a handball call which was like pretty valid. Yeah, this plays from after the handball from Rabio. But yeah, another very controversial call. So, but yeah, once again, it's not Argentina, so there will be no outrage. And speaking of the game, Morocco dominated. Were dominated by France in every aspect. Bouadi, which has been perhaps one of the one of the best players for Morocco in this campaign, he was pretty average in this game. He was dispossessed quite a few times. He didn't really have the best game. So yeah, Morocco were dominated in all of the aspects, but yeah, Bono made some crucial saves. Otherwise, the scoreline would have been much worse for Morocco. Yeah, France has been absolutely lethal in this tournament. In almost every aspect, they've been cooking.
Yeah, right. I mean, like you have said, I agree with the like the decisions you were saying. But again, I feel like every game we do kind of see like some unfair decision. But only when it's Argentina is a biggest deal. Only when it's Argentina, people will like spam post everything, spreading hate. But yeah, with that, shall we move on to the next game?
Yeah. So the next game, obviously, being Spain versus Belgium. What did you think of this one?
Yeah, I mean, again, going to this game, I feel like a lot of people are saying like Spain looks quite unconvincing, but just like the game they played beforehand, I feel like it's just their style. Like they would just like you know play the usual like possession tempo of the game. They just try to have like good positioning, and I feel like yeah, that is enough. Because again, they came out on top. What a game by Rodri. I mean, he's been facing washed allegations for a while, but I feel like he kind of dictates the whole tempo. A lot of people like will just look at goal and assist, but I would say like he's probably like one of the best Spain player in this whole tournament. And yeah, and speaking for the Belgium side, I do think they were kind of unlucky though, because like I said, I think with the Spain style of play, they always just provide like a even type of game. But Belgium, they could have easily turned it around as well. I mean, Doku, we finally get to see him play like for a while, and yeah, I think he had a great game. De Cutlery, he scored a goal as well, and Lukaku, he came on as a substitute as well, and I feel like if he scored that header, yeah, it would have been might have been a different outcome. But yeah, overall, I think it was a close game. I still don't think people should be hating on Spain because I feel like that's just the type of game they play. And yeah, last thing, Marino from yeah, I don't know how he always does it. I mean, again in this game he clutched up. So yeah, what do you think?
So yeah, obviously Spain once again playing the possession-based, gameplay. As we've seen them time to time in this World Cup, it's basically how they've been. And yeah, but once again, I think there was a controversial call in this game as well. But once again, no Argentina, no outrage. So let me just put it on screen here as well. Uh, I well, I personally think this was a handball from the Belgian defender. Yeah, let's just go back and watch the full scenario here. So yeah, this is like look at closely. Yeah, this the here. If you
Yeah,
look at
yeah,
it, I think this is basically you can't say like this is an unnatural, like this is on obvious handball. I don't know how obvious it has to be other than this to for a handball to be given. But yeah, this was yet another controversial call. And yeah, as you mentioned about Rodri, I personally think he is the most important piece in the Spanish midfield in this World Cup. I think he's been absolutely cooking. He dictates the play. He doesn't really get under pressure. His passing accuracy has been insane. Yeah, I think he's basically the one controlling the midfield for Spain. And yeah, once again a great win from Spain, and once again a last minute and and and, and yeah, you can say last minute or maybe not, which was in the 88th minute if I'm not wrong. 88th minute, Merino came off the sub, scored once again. Yeah, he is basically the clutch player for Spain at the moment. And yeah, we have to talk about Lamine Yamal here. Like I think apart from his attacking duties, he actually came back and he defended quite a few times against Doku as well, and he defended well. Like he made some good tackles against Doku, and he was basically cooking up until the 60th minute. Then I think when Saiss came in for Belgium, I I think he definitely had Yamal. You know he wouldn't let Yamal go past him. I think it was a crazy performance from Saiss because you haven't really have heard much from him in and yeah from about Saiss about he isn't really a well-known player, but I personally think he did quite well against Lamine Yamal. He held them back. So yeah, Belgium they scored a good goal, and for a moment you thought that Belgium might actually win this game. But I think the turning point for Belgium here was when Courtois was substituted and yeah, and the other and Lemons came on for them. I think that was the major turning point for Belgium, as we know how good of a goalkeeper Courtois is, and even the goal that Marino scored, it was basically Lemon's mistake. He couldn't really hold on to the ball. Mirano took advantage of it, and he scored on the rebound. So yeah, I think that was a major turning point for Belgium there. The moment they subbed off Courtois.
Yeah, right, right. I mean, again, I think Belgium was one of the few teams I feel like that they were kind of bad at the start. At the group games, they were like kind of bad. But then afterwards, I do think their performances actually got better. And yeah, I mean, obviously they got knocked out now, but I think the whole world will probably remember the game versus USA. So yeah, that was a big W from them. But yeah, with that, shall we move on to the next game?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Or yeah, the next game obviously being Argentina once again, and once again people had some pretty controversial, according to people, of course, not to the real fans. They say it was yet again a controversial call in this game, but yeah, start off with the analysis of this game. Argentina versus the Swiss.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I actually want you to start off first because I think you explained the controversies quite well.
Okay, so here we are once again, Argentina playing another game, obviously against Switzerland. Switzerland, they've been doing well, you can say, in the knockout stages. But yeah, their defense was quite solid. I think Argentina, they weren't really dominant in the whole game, but the first goal they scored, I think it was like quite funny to me how they let one of the shortest one of the shortest players on the pitch score a header like that. Like it was crazy. McAllister scoring a goal in the opening 10 minutes. It was great to see since he's a Liverpool player as well. Oh yeah, it is good to see him scoring goals. But yeah, Switzerland, they had their chances, they had their moments. The one moment I would like to specifically mention was I think it was Endoy who took a bit long to take the shot. So that was an absolute solid defense from Lisandro Martinez. He put his body on the line, and I think if it weren't for Lisandro Martinez, that would have been the first goal for the Swiss. I think he defended quite well. But yeah, one of the moments of this game was obviously the Molina and Messi link up play. Molina played the ball to Messi, and Messi simply just flicked it up, and he made Ricardo Rodriguez touch grass there basically without even having possession of the ball. Yeah, that was a pretty crazy pass as well. So yeah, moving on to the goal scored by Switzerland. It was a great 1-2 between Ando and Ricardo Rodriguez. Ando scored a great goal between the legs of Emiliano Martinez. It was a good goal. But then we saw Breel Embolo, and I'm not sure how to
And
word
that was the
it.
funniest moment of
Yeah,
the game,
yeah.
man.
Basically, I don't understand how to describe this dive, and yeah, I I don't want to you know I don't want a certain someone to catch strays here, but at the start of the tournament, he said Timbolo said that Ronaldo is his idol, and with what he did in the game against Argentina against Paredes. I think there absolutely remains no doubt that he is his favorite player. So yeah, I don't even have the word to describe that dive. So let me just put it put it this way in the as the clip to show it to everyone. How horrendous of a
You,
dive it
you
was
really want
from.
us to laugh again, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I want people to see how these seasonal fans basically don't want uh, rules to be followed exactly, like the mistaken identity rule that like many people were screaming about. So yeah. Here we are. Here's the foul. Let me just share the tab here. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, here we go. The foul that was made initially. Paredes got a yellow card. He is saying I didn't really even get a touch, and they just move a bit forward. And now I think it's more time for, like,
Yeah,
you're
and that was
already
like
on a
after
yellow.
equalizing.
Yeah, like your team has the momentum and you're already on a yellow and you do this. Oh my god. This is probably a dive of the century here. And yeah, once again, people say that this is the first time this rule was applied in the World Cup, but I would like to remind them something else as well. Since I'm really glad once again that I have watched all of the 100 games played so far of the World Cup. So let me just take it back to the one of the opening games of the World Cup between Paraguay and USA, with how this mistaken identity rule was first used in that game, where Miguel Elmiron got a yellow card for for simulation. Yeah, let me just try to. I don't exactly remember what minute of the game it was, but it definitely did happen, and I will get to it. But yeah, by the time I get to that mistaken identity VR review, let's talk about the Julian Alvarez goal. Man,
What a
definitely one
goal!
of
What a goal!
goal of the tournament contenders right there. Um, yeah, and then obviously Switzerland committing their players forward, and Almada with a great run, and he couldn't really finish, but luckily Lautaro Martinez was behind him, and he scored and perhaps an open goal to make it 3-1. So yeah, some once again Argentina in the dying moments really stepped it up. So what did you think of the game?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. To start off, I feel like what a game it was by Switzerland. I feel like for the until the Embolo dive, I feel like what a great attacking display from them. They were like really putting up pressure. And for Argentina, I feel like after the McAllister goal, they were really having a snooze fest because they were just playing quite poor in my opinion. I feel like for a long ass time, that was the only shot they had on target. And yeah, I feel like they were quite poor in the first half and then the second half as well. But then yeah, the usual happened. But first Andoya scored a goal, and then after that, like we have said, after quickly equalizing, Embolo made the dumbest decision ever. It was just crazy. And I wonder if people are gonna say like Argentina paid him to dive or some. Uh, they might actually do that, but yeah. And then after that, Argentina just stepped out of the game in the extra time. I don't know how they do it. I just really don't know how they do it. And then Alvarez he scored a crazy goal, and then Martinez backed it up as well. But yeah, seeing this type of Argentina performance though, like even though they do kind of step it up in the final like third or something, I really do wonder how they're gonna play against England though, because you know even their defense, I wouldn't say was looking that great. The defense wasn't looking that great, and the attack, they just kind of wake up at the like the dying time. I do think England will actually be a tough game for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think Argentina has to step it up a level, and they can't just keep relying upon Messi. But the other players from the Argentina side have to step up. Like you can't just wait in every game for Messi off the class. Like I mean, he's 39 years old. I mean, yeah, he's been carrying Argentina in this tournament, but you can't rely on him in every game. There are players like Lautaro Martinez, like Julian Alvarez, Rodrigo De Paul. These players have to step it up. And yeah, I think Scaloni has to, maybe switch up the midfield because I don't think Rodrigo De Paul has been that great. I think he has to give chance to the Giovanni Lo Celso, Giuliano Simeone, and Nico Paz. Players like them, they have a good bench as well. I think players like those should be given a chance against England maybe. But England, as we have seen, they have a good defense. They have a good attack as well. Harry Kane, Bellingham, both are in form. Gordon obviously in form as well. He has made two assists in his last two games, I think. So yeah, it will be a very tough game for Argentina. They have to step it up defensive wise as well. They have to try to defend well as well. But yeah, I found the Paraguay versus the USA clip where Almiron was booked for stimulation. So let's just head back to it real fast, and then we'll move to the last quarterfinal game, Norway versus England. So yeah, here it is. Here's the replay. So yeah, here's Almiron making the run. We have Reem on a clear dive from Almiron. Here, yeah, it didn't really touch him. So this is another very horrendous dive from Almiron. But I think Embolo dive, stops this one. Yeah, so this is
Calm now. And speaking for the England side, though, again, I mean Bellingham. I mean again, what a player! Even for the last game, he was quite good. Whereas Kane, I feel like he had an underwhelming game today, and he even dived in one of the instances, if I remember correctly. And yeah, I feel like Gordon, he wasn't that bad. And but the thing is, I do think there were many controversies in the game. So, Momin, you want to start off by explaining them?
yeah. So let me first of all, the people obviously who talk about controversies mostly are the ones who don't watch the games and rely on the screenshot that are shared on the social media. So yeah, let's talk about this interview. This is not really a controversy. This is the chance that Norway had to make it 2-0 against England in the 43rd minute. So yeah, let's just quick back here. So this is the chance. So we have Sorloth here. We have Haaland here, one of the most lethal strikers in world football right now. You see the tons of space he has up front. All Sorloth had to do was maybe make a pass here, and it would have been a great finish from Haaland. But he you can take a look at what he did on, and he didn't really had it. He didn't really had a good chance towards the goal. So yeah, this was the selfish moment perhaps from Sorloth. But yeah, once as you mentioned, Sorloth is a striker and he shouldn't really be playing at the right wing, position, because you see how tall he is, and I don't think it's fitting for players such tall to be playing at the right wing. So yeah, it was a very a very perhaps a very bad decision, from them. But yeah, let's just go back to the same. Yeah, yeah. So Sorloth misses the chance. So the Norwegian goalkeeper takes the goal kick, and there's this. Everyone knows the camera that is, above the pitch. Okay. So yeah, I think yeah. So this is where the controversy happened. So as we all know, the above the pitch we have a camera, which is supported by a wire, which is spread across the over the pitch. So Nyland, which is the Norwegian goalkeeper, took a goal kick here. So the ball was going straight, and then up till at this place, it just suddenly came down right here. Like, I mean, it doesn't make sense. Like how does the trajectory of the ball, uh, it's going straight, and then it suddenly it's supposed to be going over there, but suddenly it just comes down right at Anderson. So yeah, and as per the rules, I think it when it touches something, the play is dead. The play is replayed, and it should have been a goal kick for Norway once again to be played. But yeah, the statement from FIFA I think is absolutely horrendous. They say that the sensor that the ball has couldn't really detect something hitting the ball. But most people say the why it was because it was so high that that's why it couldn't really detect the touch. But I think that's a bad excuse. But yeah, if we look at the similar incident here, one that happened in Portugal versus Croatia game. Uh,
Yeah, I was just gonna mention that they can
yeah,
sense that though.
yeah, exactly. The sensor worked quite accurately here, but like we saw the replay countless times. Like the ball did not even change its trajectory, and according to FIFA rules itself, if the ball doesn't change the trajectory, I don't think you can assume that it hit the player. I don't know what kind of sensor it was that it really hit the perhaps a strand of hair of the Croatian attacker or defender. I know I'm not sure which player it was, but it was a Croatian player. So yeah, I think it's once again another controversy here as well, right? And it's really crazy. So this happened, and now I think there's another controversy here as well. It comes in the second goal scored by Norway, Holland specifically. So let's just go to that real quick if I can, find it. I'm not sure exactly in what minute it was, but yeah, Elliot Anderson uh, fell down quite cheaply. And I think it was a very soft push. It should have been, and it should have been because that was a really poor decision. But yeah, here we are once again. No Argentina, no outrage. So if you want to add something else into the game, I'll try to find the clip of the Holland, the goal which was disallowed.
Yeah, right, right. I mean, like we have said, I do agree that there were poor decisions made. And even though I do think in the rest of the game, though, there were some good decisions made as well, but I still think like the bad overweighted the good. And like you have said, at the end of the day, it's just the fact that, if it's not Argentina, there will be no outrage. Because I feel like after the game, just like, after like the few days, I think that nobody's really talking about it anymore. Whereas for the, Argentina Egypt game is still being discussed till today, which is crazy to me.
Yeah. So I found the clip. Here's the VR review of how easily Elliot Anderson a great push. Like if we go back to the Portugal game against Croatia, and if we see how they gave a penalty to Portugal in that instance, and I think it was a pretty unfair decision. This Holland goal, it should have stood. And yeah, but once again, as we saw, as I mentioned, I think countless times in this episode, if it's not Argentina, there will be no outrage. It's fine, and people won't be shouting anymore. So yeah, I will actually go back to the Portugal Croatia game and show the penalty Portugal got, because I'm not letting anything slide here, because I find it absolutely crazy the fact that there's so much outrage against Argentina while the rest of the decisions go unnoticed, perhaps not unnoticed, but they just get ignored by majority of the fans. And I understand they're mostly seasonal fans who don't really understand much of the rules. So yeah, I think it's pretty crazy with how with how they're uh, talking about uh, you know Argentina in this World Cup. So yeah, let me just try to if I can find it.
Yeah, I
Let
feel
me.
like with the one thing we kind of learned from this World Cup is really the fact that people just only kind of selectively pay attention to the stuff they want to pay attention to, in the sense which is like trying to like just kind of make up fake things for Argentina. And whereas I think like I've said, every game I feel like the referee makes some good decisions and bad decisions. I feel like there hasn't been a game where like the referee has been perfect. There hasn't been bad decisions made, but of course, none of the games there's like a really big outrage. But like you have said, when it's Argentina, it just gets talked too much.
Yeah, so I found the penalty which was given to Portugal against Croatia. Yeah, let's check it out. And then his only knockout goal, and of course it had to be a penalty. So yeah,
But imagine
uh,
if Messi scored a penalty, though.
yeah. I mean, if he had scored his penalties, he missed two in this World Cup. If he had scored them, he would have 10 goals in the World Cup by now, and he would have broken. And I think that's exactly how many goals Ronaldo has across all of his uh, 6 World Cups. So there's that. I mean, it's not much of a comparison, really, how Messi is doing at 39. As we saw in the last 2022 World Cup, Ronaldo was 39, and we saw people saying like they were gonna like they were saying like we will see how Messi performs when he reaches the age of 39. So yeah, I think which is pretty crazy that the things he's doing at 39. I don't think it's normal, but yeah, these were the games, the round of 16 games that we missed, and the quarterfinal games. So yeah, what do you think so far of the tournament we have played 100 games done. We have like 4 games remaining only. I just think it has gone way too fast, and now we will miss the vibes of the fans coming together, and you know the the vibe that the World Cup creates, the way it brings people together. We'll have to wait another 4 years to see that happening once again.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts of the World Cup so far. I mean, obviously, I've been loving it. I feel like the new format it didn't kind of disappoint much, but yeah, it feels like it's ending too soon. We still got some like very great games, and like we have predicted, I do think the games got better as it progressed, and I'm quite happy for that. And I hope the semi-finals that are gonna come up gonna live to the hype as well. But yeah, I just wish like there weren't like these type of controversies that kind of like ruin the vibe of it. But yeah, I still think it's great vibes overall.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. It's been a great World Cup. So yeah, I think this is it for the broadcast. I think it's been an hour as we had to discuss quite a few games. So yeah, this is it for today, and we'll see you. I think it's tomorrow night. The game between France and Spain. So let's just give our predictions as well. A very highly anticipated game, France versus Spain, World Cup semi-final. Who do you think is going through to the final?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep it simple here. As I've said throughout the whole podcast, I think people are kind of like shitting on Spain too much because they doesn't like play like the dominant style of football, like super pressure on everything. But I do think even though they will continue playing the possession style of game, it will still be they will still put up a fight though. And but at the ultimate end of the day, I do think France will come out on top. I feel like throughout the whole tournament, we have just kind of seen like how great they have been as a whole team. The attack, obviously, no, we don't even need to say much, but even the midfield defense has been solid. And yeah, but I do think it will be a tight game. I do think Spain will not make it easy. It won't be a domination by France. But yeah, I'm going for a 2-1 win for France here.
Yeah, interesting prediction. As we've seen Spain, they they aren't really completely. They don't really play into completely dominating style of football, but the possession based play, I think they have a better structure. They haven't conceded many goals. They've only conceded 1 goal throughout the tournament. And yeah, I think this is a pretty big advantage for Spain here. But yeah, absolutely nothing to take away from from the French team. But I think Spain once again takes the edge here. Well, I think it goes to extra time where Spain win it, but I also think it might as well go to penalties because both are them like evenly matched sides. So yeah, I think it might even go to penalties. And if it goes to penalties, I think Spain, I actually think that France might win it because I think they have slightly more experience. But in this World Cup, we have seen sides with more experience failing in penalty shootouts as well. So I think much can be said. But I think Spain goes to the final here, like a 2-1 something.
Interesting. I mean, penalties. I really don't see it going to penalties, but if it does, though, the vibes will be even crazier. But yeah, with that, shall we do the next prediction?
Yeah. So let's do the Argentina versus England prediction as well. The another very highly anticipated game we have in store for us. So let me just get to this. Here it is: Argentina versus England. So yeah, what do you predict? Who do you think is gonna go through here?
Ooh, I mean, this game I think is quite tough to predict, in my opinion, because obviously I don't think Argentina have been quite confusing. I feel like for like the first half or even like the second half, I feel like they kind of like the defense, the attack, it doesn't seem like that good. But after that, they just kind of step it up. And while I do think they'll kind of get exposed in that situation more here, I mean, in terms of they'll be more vulnerable. But yeah, I even think like even for England though, I feel like their performances have been kind of random in the sense like they kind of play similar to the opponent level. Like I don't know how to describe it. It feels like they always just play similar to the opponent level. So yeah, I think it will be a really close game. Honestly, I can't even predict which side will win because I wouldn't say completely that Argentina got the dub. Ooh, I reckon it actually goes like 2-2 and then into the penalties. That's my opinion.
So who wins in the penalties?
Well, I'll back Argentina, man. I mean, I'm probably just backing that because I support Argentina for this match, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I, I personally think England, with all their attack, of course, has been brilliant, but I think they've been vulnerable at times in their defense. I think Argentina has to take advantage of it. Argentina's midfield, Argentina's strikers, Lautaro Alvarez, like they did in the Switzerland game, they have to step up in this game as well um, because yeah, this is the most important game in the tournament. They have to. Of course, every game is important, a do or die scenario. But yeah, this is the game for a place in the final, a back-to-back final. And I really wish for a Spain versus Argentina final because we were robbed of a finalissima because of the regional conflict in the Middle East. It was due to take place in Qatar at Doha at the Lusail Stadium. Spain versus Argentina. We couldn't really get to see that, but I think that this will be the most anticipated game in the final, and I really think and I really wish it's Spain versus Argentina in the final. I think Argentina, as we've seen, they've been like average at times, but in the final minutes, I think it doesn't go to penalties. I think Argentina takes the edge here. I think they win the game 2-1, but I think it will be something like maybe when England tries to put their players forward, Argentina will make a counter and maybe score another goal to seal the deal as well. I personally think that's what happens, and I'm really hopeful for Messi masterclass once again because it's the first time he's going to be facing England through in this career. So it will be really interesting to see how he does.
Yeah, I mean, I think this game will be crazy. I think I'm super excited for it, but honestly, kind of going off topic, but there was one thing I really noticed. You know how, like, in the Argentina versus France final for the last World Cup, how, like, Argentina were kind of dominating for the first half and second half, and then suddenly, France in the, like, last 20 minutes, they just kind of stepped it up. Mbappe scored, like, 2 goals to make it even. And I feel like it's kind of funny because we are seeing Argentina kind of do that to other teams this World Cup. I feel like for the first half, for the even to the second half, they kind of like play average, but then suddenly they just kind of step on it at the end. But yeah, that was quite interesting. But yeah, so with that, I think it's a long episode, so shall we just end it
Right.
off?
Yeah, yeah. Before we end, I'd like to just add one thing to what you said regarding the previous World Cup campaign of Argentina. We saw in the knockout stages, even against the Holland, Argentina were ahead, and then they conceded two goal, and then they conceded a goal against them in the dying minutes, which took it to extra time, and then eventually penalties. And now in this World Cup, we're seeing quite the opposite. The opponent teams are scoring on Argentina, and then Argentina is taking the game in the final minutes, and then taking it home. So yeah, it's it's basically the opposite of their last World Cup's campaign. Yeah, it's definitely
Yeah, we are
really
seeing Argentina play on the other side this time.
yeah, yeah, it's really interesting to see here. But yeah, I think it's been an hour and 20 minutes since we started the episode. We had to discuss like 6 to 8 games, and including the prediction, I think that's 10 games or something. So yeah, this is it for today. Thank you for watching, and make sure you watch the whole episode so you get the the controversy that are being spread by seasonal fans, that they are not rigged. They are very fair calls, and it's only rigged calls when Argentina is playing, and suddenly everyone becomes blind when it's their favorite team playing. So yeah, make sure to look at the whole episode and look at all of the clips that we showed you in this podcast. So yeah, so you get the idea of how the officiating has been hasn't been up to the point overall in the whole World Cup. So yeah, that's it for today. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one.
I catch you on the next one.